Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bunk and Pick podcast. Pick here with Bunk. Say hello to the people.
Hey,
Bunk.
we have some guests with us, and I want to welcome them on. Pick.
Okay.
Medium G and Big G.
Why did you?
I am your father.
Oh my God, that was
Star Wars.
by far the
I am your father.
by far the most ridiculous picture I
good
think I've ever seen in my life.
That was a good one.
The Big G over there made for
Big
us.
G.
Check it out on social media. It is
You have to.
pretty ridiculous.
It is a Star Wars theme.
And it's Spaceballs, not Star Wars.
Okay, it's rolling balls.
It's rolling bulls.
But we do have the mid and large G's with us.
That's right. Depends on what combo meal you want, large or medium.
I like it.
Say hello to the people, G's.
G's.
Oi, 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 oi,
Oh my God.
I can't follow that up. I'll just say hi.
Oh, come on.
Oh, my God.
Come on, Big G.
No, I can't. How do I follow up the
Do
rapid
something.
fire voice?
Crying out loud, man.
Got more energy than me.
No.
That's why he's the medium G.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Retirement home G over there. All right. Well, we
Florida
got
G.
burns on me that we're lukewarm at best. Not even good.
Okay.
Nick and Greg now.
Oh, damn. I like it.
Jeez.
Wait, what was the burn?
You said that's why I'm medium G.
Because you have a bunch of. All right, this is going off the rail. We're 3 minutes in. It's off the
Saying 'cause
rails,
you have more
boys.
energy.
Wrangle it back in. Let's bring it back in.
I don't
Complimenting
have
on you.
energy. I just told you about the Rune Goldberg effect. The last step in this is me passing out.
Oh, my God.
Probably in about 1 hour.
Oh, boy. I am your father.
Yes, we have lost every single
right.
person trying to listen to this.
Now what are we doing, Pick?
All right, so today, since we are in the week of Week 0 games for college football,
Wait, are we?
yes, we are. There is college football
No.
this Saturday, my friend. Florida State is playing somebody
didn't
over in
know that.
Ireland.
Oh, hey, over in Dublin.
In old Ireland. Oh, good. Okay, all right. Well, we're going to take our time to talk some college football today. There's some other time at the end we can talk whatever
All
about
right.
the stupid Yankees or whatever you want to
Okay.
talk about. But
All right.
it's college football time,
Let's do
so
it.
let's talk about it.
Let's do
That's
it.
why we brought on the two G's, Double G, here with us. And I'd like to go through, the Power 4 conferences. Let's talk about our top 3 teams in each Power 4 conference. And let's talk about a sleeper from each one if you have one. And then we can do all of the
Can we
group.
just give a thought, our big picture thought on just the season?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can definitely do
When
that.
it's our turn, I guess. Give us
Yes,
one
when it's
thought
your
on-
turn. Wait your turn. Use your raised hand
ready to
function
go.
on
I'm
Zoom,
ready
my
to go.
friend. Raised hand function, please. So we can definitely do
I'll
that
drop
as
the
well.
call if you make us do the raised hand.
Raised hand function. Big G. Don't you talk out of turn. All right.
Big G's out like that.
We have already lost this. So let's go ahead and start with Big G's neck of the woods here. The Atlantic Coast Conference that stretches all the way out to the Pacific Coast with the addition.
That's nobody's neck of the woods.
It's yours. You're close to Tallahassee. You're close to it.
Conferences are anymore.
That's yours.
You're
Big
close
G's.
to it.
Big G's conference.
Well, we have the Atlantic Coast Conference that also newly minted teams to it. Stanford Cardinal out on the Pacific Coast, as well as Cal, which is very strange. All right. Well, does anyone want to go first? How about you? Since it's your neck of the woods, Big G, why don't you go
Big G,
first?
what
Yeah,
do
I
you
think
think,
Big G
Big G?
needs to go first.
Oh my God. You're going to have to explain to me what you think neck of the woods means at a different.
Florida State. You're in Florida. Miami. You're there.
2 Florida schools.
Georgia Tech's not far from you. It's in Atlanta.
Wake Forest
All right.
close.
So what are my thoughts? What are my thoughts on the ACC? Actually, I think the ACC might be the craziest conference this year as far as getting it mixed up. I know they got Florida State at the top, Clemson at the top. I think Clemson is going to be boring as crap to watch. They're going to drop a few big ones. I don't know about Florida State. I think DJU will be able to hold his own. I have a lot of confidence coming out of Oregon State. They'll be able to hang. Florida State will hang for a while. They'll probably stay on top. I actually think NC State could run it. Pulling McCall from Coastal Carolina might be what they needed. If their defense even improves a little bit, their offensive production goes way up, they could be crazy.
God, talk about boring, no, dude. They are friggin' boring to watch.
Who, NC State?
Oh my God.
I like
Carolina
NC State.
No, I'm saying, well, that's what pulling Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina is going to change that. I mean, the guy can play. They're going to throw the ball a lot more.
Okay.
You're thinking of like the early 2000s NC State.
Yeah, he's thinking of Russell Wilson's NC State.
Nah, I'm not. So who do you think's going to win the conference? Who are your top three in the conference?
Top three, I think Florida State will hang up there. I think NC State.
Okay, man, you clearly love them. Okay.
Yeah, he's
No, I don't love
infatuated.
them.
He's a lover.
Infatuated by NC State.
Look at their.
Oh, Wolfpack.
Honestly, I'm
Ranked
hoping.
25.
I'm actually hoping that SMU can
I forgot
apply
they're
what
joining.
they did last year. They were 11 win team last year, 10-win team.
7-6.
If they can go off, they were not
Crushed
7-6.
his face.
You're crushed.
They were not
Balls have been
7-6.
rolled.
If they can go off and have any defense, it would be fun to see SMU at the top. But I think it'll be NC State, FSU, and probably Miami because they have Cam Ward. If he can get past that first Florida game in the swamp and look confident, I think he'll carry that through the season.
Wow.
Those are my three.
All right.
No
So who do you
Clemps?
have winning, Miami versus Florida State? It's because you're high on both.
No, NC State.
No, you said Florida State too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said Florida State.
Florida State,
probably-
Miami, and
they would
NC
probably-
State, I think,
Yeah.
will be the top three.
Yeah.
Who's winning it, though? Who do you have winning it?
It'll depend on how Cam Ward can adjust to being like. I mean, they have Florida game one. If he plays good in the swamp, and Miami's talent is out of control, I think Miami could win it. I hate saying that, but
I like.
I mean, I think that's
Isn't there
a
for
pretty.
Miami.
That's a pretty strong.
What a medium G? What's Gary?
Well,
You're not a Miami
they
guy?
also
I
have-
don't trust them yet. I don't think they're on that level yet.
Really?
They have.
Yeah,
they have
I mean,
the
they've been playing
team.
much better.
They have the
Yeah, but
team
when
to
have
do
they-
it.
In recent memory, when have they accomplished like a ton?
This is Mario
I
Cristobal's
agree.
third year, so I think it's now or never for him.
Right. That's why I'm cautious on them. I think they could, but I got to see it to believe it first.
well, I would say, I mean, Cam Ward is a freak. I think he'll be great, but the pulling Martinez from Oregon State at running back will probably be the difference maker for Miami.
I think Miami. I think Miami is the number one. You got. I mean, so you're not putting Clemson up there. Dabo's team.
I can't.
No.
I can't do
Clem-
it either.
Okay,
They're
just
too boring. Their
asking.
defense will be good. I don't think they'll be able to win close games. And Florida State and Miami and NC State, I think they could pull out close games against a team like Clemson. So I don't
Yep.
even know what their schedule
No,
looks like. Clemson sucks.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Blind hatred.
Wow, Dabo.
All right,
No,
Medium G,
they're
come
a really
on.
boring team.
Medium G, jump in. Give us your thoughts on the ACC and who
I have a
your
question
top
off the
three.
bat for Clemson. I actually was trying to think because when he said no, I was like, "What? You got to put Dabo in there, right?" And then I had like a miniature argument with myself of, "I don't think I do." Like they're really not in that conversation, are they? They should be.
They should be because their quarterback's coming back.
They're getting lapped though. They're getting lapped because
Well,
they
'cause he
they
won't-
will not use the transfer portal.
He will not.
He
do-
will not
yeah,
use it.
He won't do it. You're right.
But they still get great players.
They
so
do.
Yeah.
I think they're.
it's like,
I
don't
mean,
know,
I
you
hate.
can't count them out, right? You just can't count them
No,
out.
I think they're in the conversation. I think their quarterback is. Well, he wasn't great last year, but what Cade Klubnik?
Mm-hmm.
But I think he'll do okay this year. I think they're in. I think
The
they're in
Austin
the
kid?
top.
He's from Austin, right?
He is. He's a Westlake kid.
Yeah, I think they're in the conversation. Who do you think? Well, who do you have then? The Meady?
Meaty.
Go to Meady.
Old Meaty Gary.
Need. The ACC is like no man's land to me. Like I don't buy into really any of these teams really. So it's hard for me to predict. Like I guess you would have to go Florida State. I mean, based on their recent performances last year, they bring back a ton. They look great. Their coach is phenomenal. I was looking up some salaries to try and back up my James Franklin talk earlier. He makes like the fourth most in the country, I think. And he does nothing but win. So
Yeah,
I could not like bet against that man, especially in the ACC where I'm like, who's really going to test him? Like Miami again. I don't trust them yet. I wouldn't put them up there. NC State, same, even behind. I mean, maybe they have a flashy, really good team this year and they win 10, but can they get over that hump? You know, the big dog hump. They would be an interesting team to see maybe lose 2 in the ACC and make the playoffs, like sneak in on one of those last spots somehow. That's kind of, I think, the benefit of the 12-team playoff. It's probably going to benefit a team like NC State.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then our boy is Mac Brown still at North Carolina, right?
Yes, he is.
He can coach, man.
Right.
He can recruit and coach.
This
People
is the first
still
year he
love him
hasn't
here
had
in
a
Austin.
quarterback, though.
That we know of.
Yeah, I don't know anything about them.
They don't
really.
have a clear
Can
starter
talk
yet.
about them.
I wouldn't bet against him though, man. He definitely
he
can
can
coach, and he's good with quarterbacks. So I'd put him up at the top of the list there. I think they're in the top 3.
I'd put him in the top.
No
just
way
'cause I
he's in the
can't
top
get
3.
out of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Not
No.
3. No.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Medium G. I'm sorry, I
not 3,
cut you
because
off.
There's 17 teams in the ACC. So the top chunk, I'm talking about, like, I don't know, the top 6 or 7. I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams that are fighting for the 2nd and 3rd spot in that league.
So North Carolina has Max Johnson, quarterback, and I believe he's from the
He's a transfer in.
yeah.
He was at LSU.
Yeah. So they definitely got a quarterback. I think so Big G, I think your love of North Carolina State comes from way back when one Chuck Amato used to be the coach, if you remember him. He used to be the coach.
I do.
there.
I know
The
he
guy
did.
that fixed my roof just asked me if I was related to him.
I'm gonna go with a. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna throw. I think North Carolina is in there. I'm gonna go Miami, North Carolina, and I'm gonna go with Dabo. And I think Florida
my
State.
God.
I think Florida State's
Yeah.
not doing it.
Oh man.
I'm not. I don't even like
I'm putting
Dabo.
Clemson in there too. I can't say they're not in it.
You
I do it.
can't because I don't. I'm sick of him and all the crap he does. But he always has a good team. It's gonna be hard to beat him.
So I guess before Pitt goes, Louisville was in the talks for being in the playoff last year.
But they lost everything.
They lost. No, they didn't lose everyone. But you're putting them out. I mean, they're 3rd in the power ranking in the conference. I'm not picking them as a top 3, but you don't even think they're in there.
Louisville.
I think there's an argument for them, but I don't know. I think they just lost too much. That team was really good last year, but nobody saw that happening. They came out of nowhere. They were like so close to being the TCU, right, of last year. So what happened with TCU? They regressed to the mean and they got trounced all year. I just think they're going to be a bowl team, but I don't think they're top 3 in that league.
You know, the one thing about that league, though, if you watch them over there, so in the beginning of the season, there's always some teams like Syracuse and Boston College and Virginia. They always jump out to like some undefeated record for 5 or 6
really good
games,
doing it.
and then they just crap all over because then they start playing harder teams. But they always do it. Syracuse did it last year. They had a great team for half a season.
Watch out for Syracuse this year.
Yeah.
Watch
they
out
got
for
the
Syracuse.
Ohio
They're going
State.
to
They
catch
have Kyle
people.
McCord.
Well, they do. Have
They're
Kyle
not
McCord.
going to be top 3 team in that league, but they're going to catch some people sleeping.
Yeah, this might be a good division to watch. Now, I don't think any of them are strong enough to compete with the other divisions, to be honest with you. As far as
Probably
I'm gonna
not.
give us a little inside baseball here because Big G's really high on NC State. I think
What is
me and
this?
you, Bunk, well, you're the one advocating for them. We're advocating more for Clemson. Not that you're saying that they can't be the 3 as well, but when I look at the schedules, NC State has probably the easiest ACC schedule out there. I think their highest. They have to play Clemson.
Yep.
Clemson, on the other hand, opens up the season with Georgia.
Yep.
They get NC State. They get Florida State. They're playing a much tougher schedule.
so they
Still, I wouldn't
lose.
say insane, but hard.
So you say
Right.
so they'll probably well, you never know about Dabo, but I mean, and I guess we'll find out how Georgia is too. But say
Right
they
away,
lose to
week 1,
Georgia,
yeah.
but they have a legitimate chance to beat the other teams. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
could definitely beat Florida State and everybody else. So it's I think you're right. I guess the beginning of the season will be kind of a tell on them.
But it's so hard. That first game of the year, it's hard. It's hard to judge a team, and that's such a big matchup that you would think that, but they're going to be prepared and stuff. But it's still the first game of the year.
It is, and I'm
It's
hoping
at
they
home.
beat
For
Georgia.
Clemson, it's a home game.
Yeah.
That maybe
Yeah.
helps.
Yes,
Well, I would-
absolutely.
How much does it help? I don't know.
I'll say that part of the reason I have NC State in the top 3 in this conference is because of their schedule. If they can get, I mean, they have
It is
Tennessee
easy.
week 2. if they can get through week 4 and be 3-1 with their only loss being to Tennessee,
Exactly.
I mean, I don't. They're in. I don't see them losing again. Clemson.
That's what I was saying with the 12
will
team
lose 2
playoff.
games.
They could even maybe afford another lot. Maybe they could lose to Clemson and Tennessee and just blow everybody else out and somehow find their way in.
It should be. I think it's gonna be fun. So I know I'm sitting here looking at my preseason magazine. They, just so you know, they have their forecast is the first top 3: Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and then SMU. They have ranked 4th.
That's right. That's my. Okay. So if we get to me on the 3,
Are we to you pick?
Is it to me?
I am to you
Because I'm saying Florida State, NC State, SMU.
Yeah, I
SMU has so much firepower and
quarterback?
offense.
What quarterback do they have?
At SMU,
Yeah.
the
remember the guy's
Texas quarterback Hudson Card, my friend.
No.
Hudson Hawk. The Hawk
No,
is
is
there.
it? Yeah, it is Hudson Card.
is,
No, he's at
Preston
Purdue.
Stone.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, he's
Now,
at Purdue.
Preston Stone.
Preston Stone. Dang it.
You blew it.
SMU
Yeah,
has an
he's
I
even
done
easier
womp
schedule.
womp womp. No,
can't
but
see
I think
SMU doing that.
SMU is going to really, really push all these SEC teams. Their offense is so good. It's so good.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Okay, so here's their schedule. So Nevada, Houston Christian, BYU,
Yeah, this-
TCU.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. man.
Exactly.
Wait,
But you're in a
that
you're in a
week 4,
Power 4.
TCU on the CW network.
You're in a Power
Yeah,
4.
the CW
You're in a
is on
Power
there.
4 and you win games.
They're boring, man.
They can be boring all they
Friggin'
want.
boring.
You're
But
boring.
they lost 3 games last year, I think, and they were all to Power 5 teams. So this will be. I mean, they blew out like other Group of 5 teams.
They're
But how is that going to translate?
they're just my dark. I just don't see Clemson doing very well this year. I see them getting beat right away. I think there was a lot of pressure on Dabo last year. There's even more pressure this year. They're going to get beat
That's
week
fine. You can
1.
lose to Georgia.
It's going to slide. They're going to slide.
I don't know.
Just like
man.
last year, they're going to have a big slide. The culture's just not there.
I can tell you, I am not a fan of his. The dude comes up with wins, though, man.
Win.
Not last year. He
Not
didn't.
last year.
But they weren't even that. What,
Not
what
the
did they
year
end up
before
last
that.
year? What were they? I don't even know what the record was. They had. They
8
weren't.
and 4 or something.
They weren't that bad.
They're not
And they had
Clemson,
they had
though.
a freshman quarterback, the Clubber.
Yes.
I'm
No,
not,
he's
I'm
not
not
a freshman.
proponent. He was a freshman.
Redshirt
He was a
freshman.
freshman. I mean, I wasn't a fan of his, but I don't actually even like the guy, but he is a good coach.
I'm not saying he's not a good coach. I just don't.
right.
Don't see them doing it.
Well, we're gonna just see how it all works out then,
all
aren't we,
right.
sir?
All right. Well,
And we're
that's-
gonna look and see if Chuckamato comes back to North Carolina State for Big
NC
G.
State is going to win some games, man.
God,
They're going to
are-
be very good.
I've watched them
When's
in
the
the
last
past.
time? Okay, when?
I watched
In the
their
past,
games.
like in the 90s?
No, I did actually watch them when Chuck Amato was coach, but I watched them a few times in the last couple of years. They're friggin' boring. I turn them right off. I go right to the friggin' Nevada game.
They
or
have
something.
such a good coach.
Oh god.
They have an amazing
A lot
coach.
of games are more boring.
Yeah, what the hell are you? It's ridiculous.
That's my point.
Oh my god.
All right.
All right,
It'll be fun this year.
that's the ACC. I think
Where are
we're
we going
pretty
now?
split. We've got
Hold
one
on.
Miami.
we
got
got like one team here.
Miami's going to win
I
it.
wanted to ask about Virginia Tech.
yes, Virginia
Virginia
Tech.
Tech.
They're just hard
People
to
have been
read.
talking about them like they're kind of good, and I refuse to believe it. I don't think much of them at all.
No.
Have you guys heard of? Are you any of y'all high on them at all?
I think they are in the top 5. They're there in the top 5 to
The
6
ACC?
teams in the ACC.
They are ranked in the.
I think they get a couple people.
What's the attraction to them? What does everybody love? I don't.
They're
They're
just
gonna have a good defense.
they're starting to play that classic Virginia Tech smash mouth football on defense. They're hitting people pretty damn hard. The offense has to come through,
Running kind of in the
Yeah.
trenches team.
running and leverage the run to open up the passing game.
And they actually have their quarterback ranked as the second team.
They're gonna be
all
good.
ACC. I've never heard of the guy.
I absolutely would not be surprised if they came out of nowhere and like won the league, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they shit the bed and go 6-6 or something like that.
They got Kyron Drones Jr. quarterbacking. I don't know anything about him.
All right.
Y'all think that
Thanks for-
Manny can
thanks for
get?
He's a
I
Baylor
think-
transfer.
I think Duke will catch some people.
Hey,
think Duke will,
I
too.
will say Malik Murphy got named the starter for Duke. He was named on Monday, the starter for Duke.
I think they could do.
He's good.
They have their. They've definitely had their years when they can play.
I'll tell you what they will have. What they will have is a defense. Manny Diaz knows how to coach defense.
Is he there?
He is the head coach.
Is he?
They will stop people.
For the head coaching job.
They will stop people, but will they score points? Malik Murphy's good, but what's around him?
If you're a Duke fan listening to this, it's the most fun watching Manny Diaz's defense. Is like 85% of the time it's a blitz, and they're not really all obvious. They're all off timing and off edges, and then sometimes he'll bring everything, but they're all timed so well that even if it's like, oh, please don't blitz here, he does it in a smart way and still gets after the quarterback. I was so sad to see him go from Penn State.
Well, the thing with Penn State, what he could leverage, though, that he doesn't have as Duke is just crazy athletic defensive ends that could wing out and cover a tight end on very short routes. He doesn't have that anymore, so he's going to be...
Maybe he doesn't get there all the way. He's so good at getting these guys through scheme, not necessarily through their physical attributes, just getting them in position.
I love how he incorporates almost all the time. It's a secondary player blitzing. You're getting corner blitzes and safety blitzes constantly, which as a quarterback, one of those lands, you're going to be shitting bricks trying to read the defense as it goes. So
I think they're going to be
pretty good.
They actually have them ranked as the last team in the I don't think that's going to. I think they're going to be in the middle of the pack.
I think they'll be middle of the pack. I think they're going to play good defense. We'll see about the offense.
I'd love to see them do good.
They have a really easy schedule. It wouldn't be crazy for them to be 9-3.
That would be awesome.
If they're clicking and their defense is solid.
That's the thing. It's untested. We don't know what their offense is going to do. We just don't.
Yeah, I think a bowl game would be great for them this year.
Absolutely.
Games. I think that's a very positive thing. First year coach.
Yeah. I like it. I like the Dukies.
All right, let's go ahead.
The Dukers.
And start moving. We're going to move a little bit west to, I guess it's really the whole friggin' nation.
Where are we
going?
Let's
talk a little bit Big 12 here.
Oh,
okay.
Man. Big 12's huge now.
Big 12 is massive now.
It might be the most boring conference.
I don't know if it's the most boring conference. You just said that about the ACC. Is every conference boring?
I said Clemson was the most boring team.
Yeah,
I think the Big 12 might actually be the most boring conference.
Well, your face sounds like the most boring face.
Wow,
got him.
They might be, Greg.
It's pretty boring looking, man. Like just looking at the matchups.
There's good teams though.
There are some good teams. Arizona's pretty damn good, man.
Yeah.
Oak State's going to be good.
So did you see the quote from Mike Gundy today?
No.
So he came out. I guess he's pissed off. He said, "I told the team, quit asking for more money. Okay. That's over with. We won't talk money anymore until December. Play ball." So the NIL stuff must just be like a constant thing. I think he's probably sick of it. He just said, "We're done. Play ball. That time's over." I do like him. He's got some great quotes.
They got to recruit the kids and then every year re-recruit them.
I know.
And deal with conversations with them and their families and all this. It's like
and now agents are involved now.
It's constant for every player.
Well, let's go Big 12. Then we'll start with the medium one.
Oof. I am high on Oklahoma State this year. I think they're one of the biggest benefactors of these teams exiling them. And they were always pretty good in the Big 12. I'm not a huge Big 12 fan, but I imagine they're that team that you go play in Stillwater and you're just like, God, I don't want to play them.
Yeah.
Like they're playing pretty well. They got an offense that could beat you and you're just never comfortable about it. I think they benefit and they're able to get over that hump on several of these teams now and finish in the top three. I think they could take it. It's going to take, obviously a lot to beat Utah, though. They're probably my second favorite. And then my least favorite, just from a fan's perspective, is, of course, Colorado. I want to see them lose every game.
You know what? Possible. I do, too.
Just because I hate their coach.
I'm sick of it.
I hate his kids, too.
I know. I hate them all. I'm sick of them.
Yeah. That interview the other day
they're going to be pretty decent. Like I think they're going to be up there as well, which is unfortunate.
I don't care how talented you are. If your locker room's divided, you don't win games.
I don't think
that locker room is divided. That's where I'm at with Colorado.
So you got Oklahoma State.
Talent, though.
Who else do you have in there? So you Oklahoma State and Utah.
So the top three, I'd say Oklahoma State, Utah, kind of to me are tied as co-favorite. I think either one of them could easily take that. some other teams in here that could finish third. I've heard some talk about West Virginia. I don't really see it from them. I think they're going to be a big running team this year, which is weird for a West Virginia team.
Yeah.
Colorado obviously could do it. And I think the other one could possibly be Arizona, which is weird saying that.
Yeah.
But they're kind of good now. Are they good enough to get in the top 3 of the Big 12? Maybe it's not as good of a conference anymore. So it could be them.
I agree. I kind of like that. What do you think, Big G?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know what this is going to look like. I know that the conference kind of leveled out is what I feel like it did, right? Texas and Oklahoma are gone. And I think that just kind of opened it up. I'm actually pretty high on Kansas. I don't know if they're a top 3, but if their quarterback can stay healthy all season, they're going to be a fucking problem.
The sauce, though. They lost their whole yeah, they did. They lost their offensive coordinator to Penn State, and he was the whole thing there.
Yeah, but they still have their quarterback.
And that guy was, when he was on the field, and even their backup did fine as a backup.
Yeah.
But if their quarterback stays healthy this year, I can't even remember the kid's name.
Jalen Daniels.
He is an absolute problem.
He is good.
And I think their head coach is going to put some shit together. I mean, this is his 3rd year or something in Kansas.
It's just going to fall way more on Daniel's shoulder. He's not going to have that support of real creative play calling because it's going to come down to him to make the plays now.
But that's what he was doing. I guess that's what I'm saying. Last year, it wasn't play calling. It was him making plays on broken plays. He could just get outside on everybody. So I think they'll still be able to score, especially now. Utah, Cam Rising coming back is crazy. I think Utah's defense is actually going to be a huge problem for everyone else in the Big 12. That's kind of hard for me to overlook. I might have Utah top on the Big 12.
They're good. That coach is really good out there.
He's been there
Kyle
so
Whittingham.
long. They're so disciplined.
Yeah.
Yes.
They just know how to play.
Every year, it's like you watch the same team from Utah get trotted out there, and they play really well every single.
They
year.
never get blown out. If they lose, it's a bear. I got to go.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. I think Utah's number 1. Oklahoma State's up there. I think Arizona's got a good team. Be honest with you. I mean, I kind of like them. I'm with you. I absolutely hope Colorado does. I mean, they're not going to, obviously. I hope they don't win a game. Hope they suck. I'm so tired of them.
What does your thing say, their prediction on them? Probably
Colorado 13th in the conference.
Out of 16.
Out of 16.
No, they're going to get trucked.
I
mean, they might lose. They might lose their season opener to North Dakota State.
Oh, North Dakota State can play, man. Oh my God, that would just be.
They might lose their opener.
That would,
they go to a pretty good Nebraska.
Nebraska's on its way up.
They need to get better.
UCF is going to beat them. I mean, they might be.
You're right.
They might be fucking 1-4 in their first 5.
That would be so awesome.
They really could
go to the draft this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least one of them does, and they lose Travis Hunter after this year.
Yeah, I think all that.
What if it's a dumpster fire? Does he leave?
Oh, absolutely.
No, absolutely. I think he's there till his kids are gone.
He's done after this year.
I think he's there till Shiloh's drafted, and he's out.
Well, I don't know if he's going to get drafted. Shadur will maybe get drafted.
They're saying he's going to go number 2 to second QB off the board right now.
Not going to happen. He's not even ranked the number 2. He's ranked the number 2 in the conference behind Cam Rising.
Well, it's hard. Yeah, Cam Rising is just an absolute grown man at
like
29 years old.
Or something.
Yeah, he looks like a journeyman.
He doesn't care. He's like that guy from Florida State. Who was that kid from Florida State that was like 26 or something that came out? Remember him? 27?
Who?
Oh,
which one?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. He did really well, but he was old.
Winky.
Yeah. He's gonna be like him.
Yeah.
Colorado's
gonna get trucked. Their schedule sucks. It's
I hope they get killed. The team that fell just like crazy is Baylor. They were high and hot for like a while there, and they
stuffed right back down to the bottom.
Well, they won the conference championship and immediately started sucking.
Well, yeah, it's hard to hold on to players when you win the conference championship and then people throw millions of dollars at them. Honestly, Baylor doesn't have the money that those other teams do.
Shouldn't have built that new stadium.
Was RG3 the last good year? Or was it?
No.
No.
4
that,
years
right?
ago.
No, because after RG3, they had the whole what's his face?
That was after. Okay.
Yeah,
Shenanigans.
The coach, yeah.
Yeah, the shenanigans.
Yeah.
And
That
then
was Matt Rule.
Matt Rule did really well with
Turn
them.
him around.
Yep.
He did. I wouldn't count Iowa State out either. They're always tough. That's a good coach over there too.
I would count. They're
They're
not
going
gonna
to
be good this
win
year.
it, but he's good. He's a good
they're
coach,
good.
man.
I can't
Sounds
believe.
like we're kind of medium on everybody.
I can't believe
think
no one
so.
said Kansas State yet.
I
don't know
that's
who
like-
they
How the
have?
hell
Who
do
do
you
they
not
have?
put Kansas
them.
State in the top
I
three?
think they'll be solid.
Who do they have as a QB though?
Their QB is amazing. He was a 5-star prospect that came out, and he went there because it's close to home. They're going to be very, very good. I don't see anyone. I think Utah runs away with it. I don't think anyone's going to be able to unlock that defense that Whittingham has there. The defense is goddamn good every single year.
They're ridiculous.
They're so good, and their offense their run game is amazing every year. I just don't see the other teams playing enough defense to kind of keep up with where Utah will be, and that defense is going to stop every single person running.
Let's see who they play though. Who do they do? Do they play outside? So outside of the conference, oh my God, they don't play anybody.
They don't play anybody.
Holy crap!
Yeah, they have a pretty easy schedule.
God, they actually don't. They really don't play.
They got
anybody.
a very, very
Got a
easy
stretch of
schedule.
Arizona State, TCU. It's like, okay, Houston, BYU, Colorado State, Iowa State, and ending with a who knows UCF. That is a crazy easy.
Yeah, that's an undefeated schedule right there.
So for
They
me,
have to
it's
get through Oklahoma State. That was what I was saying.
Yeah,
that's the big game.
I think Oak State's going to choke. I think West Virginia is going to surprise people. West Virginia actually has a hard schedule, and I think they could come out in number 3 because their running game is nuts. I think they were like top 5 in the country last year, and both guys are back.
Yeah, Dan Brown's a great coach there too. I'm with you there. I just don't think they have enough depth to keep up. Any injury, they're done. Any injury, they're toast. Utah has a lot of depth. Utah is going to. I just feel like they're going to run away with it. Oklahoma State's going to come in 2, and you're going to see Arizona and Kansas State fight out for 3.
You think Oak State is going to be 2?
I do.
I don't think they're top 3. I think Arizona and K-State.
It's hard. I can't bet against their offensive line with Ollie Gordon.
Yeah,
he's so goddamn good.
Maybe number 1.
He's so good, but
Gundy
Utah.
coaches
I just
himself
think
out
Utah
of
stops.
wins in
Utah
big games.
stops
He coaches
that.
himself into games. You
No,
see it
no,
the
no.
other way around.
Yes.
No, it's. We'll get into this later, maybe with Texas, but some coaches overthink shit when it comes down to it. And Gundy is he's coached himself out of big games. That's why they lost the conference championship last year.
But he doesn't have to deal with them anymore. He doesn't have to deal with Texas or Oklahoma.
It doesn't matter. He still has to deal with Utah.
He has to deal with Utah now.
Right.
Kansas
Utah is
State,
scarier. I think.
Arizona. I mean, there's some good. There's some entertaining teams in the Big 12. Even though Big G said it's going to be boring, I don't think so at all.
I think watching the games will. I'm not saying. I think there's some solid teams here. I think some of the games can be fun. Kansas games are actually going to be really fun to watch. I think
them.
overall, these are some rough teams. These are going to be boring.
The lower end of the Big 12 is god awful.
Arizona. Come on, man. Arizona State.
They're so bad.
I'd love to see them win.
Arizona State's bad. I mean, Cincinnati's not good. UCF is not good. Texas Tech is not going to be very good. I just don't. BYU is always a wild card.
They might be all right.
Yeah,
they're not going to be good.
They're not horrible. There's nobody really horrible.
KJ Jefferson and Gus Malzahn.
Cincinnati's not that great.
I saw Gus Malzahn. His head got bigger.
Yeah, I just
I
don't.
saw a picture of him.
I don't trust that. I don't trust him, man. He had Cam
Auburn
Newton.
ruined him.
He had Cam Newton. That's why he won. Cam Newton won that for. It was like the Ed Orgeron whole thing with Joe Burrow. Like, it's not the coach at that point. It was a player-led team.
The Big 12 will be a little more exciting because they don't have to deal with the big noon kickoff anymore. I hate the big noon kickoff.
Oh, come on.
So annoying. I hate it.
All
right. So I think we're all in consensus that we all think Utah's going to win it.
I got Utah.
We all kind of like the
State.
same teams at the top here.
Yeah. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The league, I do think there's going to be some competitive close games. I also think there's the bottom half of the league is just dog water. They're going to get
There's
crushed.
so many medium teams that one or two of them is going to pop. And you're going to be like, well, they're a lot better than I thought. They'll finish fourth in the league, maybe, but put together a lot better of a season than you figured they would.
Well, that's what happens when you have
do
16
y'all
teams
think
in a conference.
What do you guys think on wins for Colorado before we get off this?
4.
After seeing
That's
their
where I
schedule,
said 2, 4.
I'm going with 4.
Yeah.
Well,
I
okay.
might even go 3. I think they
Here,
lose
just
to North
looking
Dakota
at it.
State just to right off the bat. That might be wishful thinking.
Yeah, I mean, North Dakota State could beat them. I'm not against that either. Nebraska, I think, does beat them.
Colorado State.
Colorado State
You never know.
might.
They might.
It just depends. They brought back their number one receiver and quarterback
I
at
think
Colorado
Baylor
State.
beats them.
We'll see about Baylor.
I think UCF beats them.
Kansas State beats them. Arizona beats them. Utah beats them.
Cincinnati's
Kansas beats
not
them.
bad. I think they got 4 wins.
I think they got 4 in there.
They're going to get, regardless of where they're at, the end of the season, they're going to get absolutely destroyed the last 4 games.
I mean, how do you?
Here's a little indicator. Their game against UCF. UCF is favored 65% based on the matchup ESPN won.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have predicted that.
Tell me here.
gonna be
Here's the
good.
real thing that about that team that I know it's like. There's 90. They have over the course of 2 years. They've had 90 transfers come in.
Yeah.
They have had 70 something leave. How do you build a culture? There is no culture. It's just toxic. It's just not.
It's the culture of no culture.
It's just
No,
not.
there's
Yeah,
no
it's
culture.
not going to
just,
work.
This is like, well, and then you have to count how many rappers have been there. How many
all
WWE
right,
guys have been
all right, grumpy old white man.
No,
Stop that there.
All those guys are on the bandwagon last year.
Well, he does have Warren Sapp now as the defensive line coach. So
Oh my God! Wow.
You have to have defensive
that's
linemen
cool.
to coach.
Jesus. I'm sorry. No offense to Mr. Sapp, but he ain't going to get it done.
all right,
Mr. Warren, sir.
Hey, young Warren.
all right.
Where are we going?
So I'm going to leave it up to the crowd. These are the big 2 conferences.
Hold on. I got to give you my. I'm just going to give you my
oh my
Big
God!
12.
Out of nowhere.
I'm
Tell
giving
me.
you my
Go ahead,
Big
tell me.
12 sleeper. Arizona State.
You're smoking something.
Yep.
Whatever's downstairs that you're smoking, send some to the Pick's house. How about that?
they
Because
did get
Arizona
rid of
State's
Herm.
last place
I'm just
They
telling.
got rid of Big Herm.
2 years ago.
They did get Hermie out of there.
So this is the dude's second year in there. I think they'll be better than
They have nothing.
they won't be at the bottom.
They have
Desert
nothing.
Swarm coming, baby.
That's all I can
Desert
say for
Swarm is coming.
The
They won't
Desert
be at the
Swarm.
bottom. I
You know
got
it's
that.
bad when we're like, they used to have Herm.
Big
Herm Edwards. Herm Edwards.
All right.
We play to win the
Just tell
game.
ya, I'm picking my
So bad
sleeper.
there.
My sleeper is Arizona State, and I'm going to be
Yeah.
throwing
And
it in your
it's-
face every
It's going to
week.
keep sleeping, my friend.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll
All
see.
right. I'm going to throw it to the group. Do we want to go SEC first or Big Ten first?
No, I don't care. Either one.
Whatever.
Well, thanks for helping me with that. Fine.
You pick.
Yeah.
Big Ten
Either.
first, then.
Big Ten.
I need to open up the floor to Medium G. Before we do anything, he has some airing of grievances he needs to
the
go through.
airing of grievances.
He's very mad that we said that Penn State, a top 10 team every year, is a
every year.
podunk place in the middle of the woods that nobody
sorting
wants to
hat
go to.
has picked Medium G.
What?
That was a sorting hat. It's his turn.
Man,
Why?
I wrote an email because I couldn't make it on. I was going to try to get on real quick to say it, but you have so overblown what I said. Now you've made me angry again. I wasn't angry
Perfect.
because
Floor is yours.
what I was referring to when I was talking about there, it's hard to talk in reference to Penn State that it's hard to recruit at. It is much harder to recruit at there than other schools like Texas or Florida State. You have to admit that there is no Lambeau State College. Not saying they don't get amazing stuff. That's just on another level at Texas and Florida State. It's on another level.
Not at Florida State. I do not agree with that at all. I don't
Maybe
agree
not-
with that
I don't
at
know
all.
as much about them, but I do. know that
Georgia,
they're
yes.
historically
Texas right now, yes.
up there.
Ohio State, yes. But come
Okay.
on.
Well, maybe Florida State and Penn State are more on a more level field. Then, when it comes to facilities and stuff, Penn State does not have as good of facilities as you think they would. I think they're like ranked 30th or something when it comes to just overall how good is your stuff. They've been begging them to build stuff, and actually they have been recently, so it is catching up. NIL was notoriously bad at Penn State, really bad, until probably 3-ish years ago when they actually made like a whole campaign and got Franklin out there to try to get more people into these programs, and they did. So everything's trending up. My grievances were that you guys were saying you could just get anybody to come into Penn State, replicate the job that James Franklin does pretty easily. And I don't think so. I think that I am certainly not an apologist of his, but when it comes to who are you going to get that can graduate kids at the rate he does? It's like an 85% graduation rate, maybe even higher than that. He's the 12th highest paid coach in the country. That's after a big 10-year contract extension that pushed him up to number 12. I mean, so who are you going to get realistically that can go into a team or a conference like the Big Ten, win 10, 11 games a year, lose to the big dogs every year like we always do, but still put together really good. When's the last huge scandal besides Sandusky since James Franklin's been there that's happened? There's been some small stuff like DUIs, but nothing big. It's not Georgia. So who could you replace him with?
Noted.
Immediately, the first name that comes to my head is Lance Leipold would absolutely crush it there.
I don't even know who that is.
He would absolutely crush
in that area.
Yes.
Can he recruit that area?
Yes, because he's recruited the whole nation already.
It's a direct competitor against Michigan, Ohio State, even in the Virginias. People get stolen to Virginia Tech.
Yes, I do think so because he's more of a national recruiter.
But do you understand we're talking about actively finding a replacement for a guy that wins 10 games a year?
I understand that completely.
Yes.
I'm not saying that he's not a good coach. And if I came off that way, I'm sorry, Medium G. I'm sorry to hurt your little feelings.
I don't know. That's the whole crux of it is I don't think he's a good coach. I don't. I think he's just an unbelievable manager of a program. I mean, it's almost all positive. And if he can put the pieces in play like this Kotelnicki hire from Kansas, that could be the piece for the offense that gets him in the playoffs and wins some games and gets him to the championship.
Not only that, he got rid of Yursich. I think maybe he did the Yursich thing as a test to see how good he could be with the worst offensive coordinator. And he did it.
Well, that's I was going to bring this up when we got off of James Franklin, but I'll preview it here a little bit. That's my only concern with Penn State was, did they only attempt 12 to 15 passes by week 6 that were over 15 yards because Aller sucks or Yursich sucks? Which one is it?
Yursich.
Yursich
did it at Texas. So, yes, we do know.
Yes.
Wide receiver screen right.
Oh, my God.
Screen
more
left.
of a history on
Give the ball to Deontay Foreman right up the middle.
Yeah. Yursich is a horrific OC. And so I think you'll see a huge jump in production.
The James Franklin thing I'll wrap up so we can move on. But that is my point. Who are you going to get? They can come into Penn State, recruit. He doesn't actually recruit as good as I thought he did. I looked up those numbers, and they're a little lower than I thought. I think he averaged 12th or 14th, 12th to 14th in the country, which I would have said it would have been like 8th or 9th. So I was wrong on that. But when you consider he's getting paid much lower than a lot of people and winning, it's really hard for me to figure out who could replace him. And then you're going to suck for a while. Nobody's going to walk into State College and just be awesome in that conference. It's going to take some time.
Well, I don't think anybody walks into any program really and takes over. And besides like a very small handful, you don't walk into any program and destroy
or that you win.
Yeah.
So you can't go in and win 6 games. I mean, people will be okay with it. They'll swallow that and just be like, fine, it's year 1. Year 2, you better win 10 games.
Here's what I give you. About no one in the nation benefits more from this 12-team playoff than Penn State. No one. Because they are always right there. Every year, they're right there. Now they're in it. Now they're going to be 8 seed. Now they're going to be 6 seed.
Yeah.
They're in it.
And then this whole conversation I'm having with you, if they don't make that 12, you can just completely delete everything I said because I will want Franklin out. Because that's the last barometers. He may be the best program manager out there, but if he can't manage us to a playoffs for everything that he has, then it's okay. I'm okay actually having 2 bad seasons for somebody else.
Yeah. All right. So with that in mind, who's our top 3 in the Big Ten?
Am I?
Sure. Just stay on your roll. Stay on your roll there, Mid-G.
This is the Big Ten. I wouldn't say I am the Big Ten expert. It's just the one that I concentrate on the most. Obviously, my heart and soul is Penn State football when it comes to being a fan of any sport. So it's hard for me to not say that they would be up there in the top 3. This year, I believe it. I think I can get past just my fan bias, because when you look all around the field, we have every component you need to be one of the top 3 in the Big Ten. There's really not a hole except for, can Drew Aller pass the freaking ball, or can he? That's the only thing missing. Creative play calling, getting it into the hands of these guys. I could see them at the top. So I'm really obviously high on Penn State. I think week 1 is going to either expose them, or it's going to be like, okay, we got a really good team here. We got something working. Because I think they could lose to West Virginia, and that makes me very nervous. But I think the good thing about that one is West Virginia is a running team, and I think we're okay with there. The other team's Ohio State. You can't count out Ohio State. They bring back everybody. They're a juggernaut every year. It doesn't matter who they lose. Every time you get on the field with them, they're just freaks, man. They're top 3. Oregon, I got up there as the other 3rd. And then one kind of maybe might get in there, Nebraska. I'm kind of high on them this year. I think it would be a long shot, but I think they're going to be up in that top 3rd of the league, which is going to be fantastic for college football.
Yeah, I agree. What do you got, Big G?
I got the same 3. I have Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State. But I think so. Ohio State doesn't have like a hard schedule, but they do have a tricky schedule. And the tricky part is they have Oregon in Oregon at Autzen Stadium the week after they probably spend an entire day getting punched in the mouth by Iowa. So they're going to have a slog against Iowa, physical game. If Iowa has literally any offense, it'll make it so much worse than it was last year having to play them with their defense is crazy. So then they have to go to Autzen, and then they have Penn State at Penn State 2 weeks later. In-state college.
With Nebraska sandwiched in between.
With Nebraska in the middle. I think they're not going to – I don't think Ohio State's going to come out of that without losing one of those 2. And it's because their schedule's brutal. Having to go halfway across the country to Oregon in Autzen Stadium, which is notoriously one of the hardest places to play. After you play Iowa in a physical, probably close game. So you might get through that, but then you got Nebraska, who might be hot coming into that next game, and then going to State College is always nuts. Like, that is just the environment there's going to be crazy.
Teams that they have a pretty tough schedule, but Ohio State is one of those just few teams I think that can navigate it. Maybe they lose at Oregon, maybe, God willing, they lose at Penn State, but they're going to get their 10 wins.
Yeah, they're hard. They're hard.
Their schedule is actually not hard at all.
No.
I mean, their first 4 are pretty easy. Michigan State is untested.
Preseason.
Huh?
There's 3 teams they play that are preseason top 10: Michigan, Penn State, and Oregon. This is
but that's mid. That's mid.
I gotta
That's
see Michigan
all sandwiched
before I
in the
give
middle.
them anything.
Michigan, Michigan's defense is going to be good. They might not be what they were last year. They also have Edwards coming back. Their running game will probably be good. It's not going to be the same, but I think McCarthy made plays that they're going to miss this year. I'm not saying Michigan's going to be bad. They'll probably end up 4th in this league. I legitimately don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're going to look like this year.
I think a lot of people are hesitant on Michigan. I think personally they lost the dog in them when they lost Harbaugh. I think that dude manufactured some wins. And I think they'll lose a couple just because they lose Harbaugh.
That's why the reason I have Oregon as number 1 is because Lanning is that guy. I think bringing Dylan Gabriel in, probably he's going to be one of the top 5 guys for the Heisman this year, if not top 3. I think Gabriel fits like that Bo Nix like profile the same. Their running game's going to be nuts. Their defense is going to be nuts. People have to go to Autzen to play him. That sucks. And their schedule is pretty grotesquely easy. I think Penn State's going to do it, man. With the new OC, their defense is always stout. They're going to be able to pull it off. I mean, USC does have the defensive coordinator from UCLA, and UCLA was absolute lights out last year. So they could be trouble. But I think Caleb Williams, as much as I don't like the guy, probably it's going to be missed.
Oh, I mean, I don't like him either, but he's a good core. Tell you who I got. I got Penn State winning it.
Oh my God. Oof.
That's
like a 9.5 on boldness scale, my friend.
Well, I'm going to say it.
Man.
So I'm saying it number one because of the schedule. And if you look at Ohio State's schedule,
they don't have the hardest schedule.
Ohio State could trip up 2 or 3 times, possibility. I'm not a big Oregon fan. I got to be honest with you. I don't know why.
They're going to be
Why?
so good this year.
Yeah, why?
I got
such an easy schedule.
I got Penn State. I got Iowa.
Oh my God.
They got a quarterback now.
Nope. He threw 4 picks during their scrimmage on Saturday.
That's against their defense.
I got
Kate
that's right.
McNamara.
I got Penn State. I got Iowa, and then I guess I would maybe go Oregon next. I'm just not a fan of Oregon.
You got.
My sleeper is going to be Nebraska.
I need some explanations here.
My sleeper is Nebraska.
Sleeper pick.
This took me back a little.
I need some explanations here.
I'm going to tell you
crazy.
something. So Oregon's moving to a Big Ten. They're used to the wide open. In Big Ten, man, they play a different brand of football.
Yeah, they lock you down. It
but
takes a different type of team.
But look at the Oregon roster and how Lanning built it. He built an SEC team.
I'm just telling
They're
you.
huge.
I'm just telling you. You're talking about teams that have been that aren't going to be bad. Iowa's going to be okay. Nebraska be okay. You got Wisconsin. You never know about them. I mean, there's even some Minnesota's. They can win games.
Oh yeah, row the boat up there.
But I'm just telling you, it's a whole different ball game. It's not just wide open where nobody blocks and we just throw for 8 million yards a game. So they're going to have to prove it.
I'm dying to know what do you see in Penn State that gets them to number 1 this year?
His son played baseball there.
No.
You're higher on them than I am.
Well, I am because I looked at their schedule, and I think they got a shot. I think their quarterback this year is going to do better. He's got a year under his belt. He's got a new offensive coordinator. They always have a great defense. They always have a great line. I mean, they always have a complete team, and they're always close. I think this year they buck it up there, and they're number 1. I think they go.
Dang, that is bold. That is, you said Iowa 2.
I got Iowa
Also
number
very,
2.
very bold.
Iowa's friggin' their defense.
Yeah, their defense is
shut
good,
down, and they
but
got
their
a quarterback.
offense, they don't.
They got
They
a
don't.
quarterback.
They don't.
Yeah. You know what though? Iowa could, because how many games did they lose 6-3?
That's what I mean.
But it's a different conference.
They
It's a
scored
different
twice.
conference now. There's no East and West. They have to play big games now.
It doesn't matter. I'm a fan of Iowa.
Let's look at their schedule then. I got to
Well,
look
who
at
do
their
you
schedule.
have?
in the top
You-
3,
you-
but they're going to be a problem.
You made fun of
They're
me.
going to mess people up.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Oregon is not. I don't see it. I'm going to be a naysayer on Oregon. I hate Ohio State, so I'd hate to pick them, but they're always good. Oregon plays Idaho.
That's good.
Oregon State is not a bad team,
And they
play them.
No.
The UCLA is not a bad team.
Oregon's on another level this year.
Oregon State lost their coach, their quarterback, their running back.
I'm just saying, but they generally
conference.
they come up
Their
and
conference.
if you look at Oregon,
They're the Pac-12 with Washington State.
No, it's called
and
the
that's it.
Pac-2 now. They're
and
calling it the Pac-2.
You know what? They're going to play Washington at the end of the season. They got Wisconsin. I'm telling
Washington lost everything too.
you. Well, they're going to have to prove it to me.
All right. Well, Oregon's winning the Big Ten. I don't
Jeez.
until
Swing.
they get beat. I just don't see them. I don't see them losing very much.
Okay.
Ohio State's right there with them. Sadly, Ohio State. If you put their roster up to any other roster in the nation, they have a better roster. The problem is their coach chokes in big games.
And they've got 3 or 4 games that they could lose.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not saying they won't. Penn State, Nebraska, around that 3. I think Nebraska just come out of nowhere. It's hard to bet against Matt Rule. He's in year 3. He's got a quarterback now. They have a great defense. It's so hard. But now they could play week 1 and my perception changes. There's just so much unknown. And I feel that way about Penn State too. Was it Aller? Like Medium G said? We don't know. We'll find out this year because the offense that they're going to be running, if it's anything like that Kansas offense, he's going to be throwing a lot. He's going to be throwing
they can just get
a
it
lot.
there. It could be night and day.
Absolutely.
It could.
They
With the
could
same
take off,
players,
but
pretty
there's too much unknown. There's too much unknown about it for me to put them at the top spot.
Well, I got him top, baby.
I know you do. I'm not saying that about you. So
Cats on the corner. Cats on the corner.
I changed mine. Mine's a clear winner. Number 1, Penn State.
Cats on the corner. Cats on the corner.
I'm on the bandwagon.
Greg's
all right.
too.
Well, it's all of you. All of you against me. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon that has a broken wheel.
That's all right. You don't have to.
On.
So here I do have a question. PJ Fleck, how many people or how many teams does Minnesota come up and bite this year?
I love Minnesota.
He is
they can get him.
such a great coach.
He is.
He's such a great coach.
Yeah. This will be the year he's going to be in the hot seat if he doesn't do something, because they had a rough end to the year last year.
So they start with North Carolina. So it's Minnesota against old Mac Brown, that first game. That's going to be a great game right there.
That's probably an even match right
then
there.
you've got Rhode Island, Nevada.
Wait. You think that's an even match? You have North Carolina like number 3 in the ACC.
Yeah, you had them like
Yeah,
winning.
he's saying Minnesota's pretty good.
I'm going ACC versus Big Ten, baby.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
I like to go
I see what you're doing. You're weighing the scales there. Okay.
Come on.
All right.
like the
Well,
Gophers.
so if Minnesota gets through they have a very rough run. They go Iowa, Michigan, USC. And then from there, it's manageable until they hit Penn State. So I could see them getting some of these teams. I mean, I could see them getting Iowa. It's at home. Michigan's just I am way far away from anything for Michigan. They have to show us what they can do with that, and with their new coach and quarterback. JJ McCarthy was an absolute animal, and he made plays when it needed to be. We don't know about this new quarterback, so I just don't. And USC's, who knows about USC at this year?
USC could play well.
I'll tell you this:
honestly.
USC's offense is going to be amazing. If that new defensive coordinator plays any defense, they're going to be a problem for a lot of teams. They don't play defense.
Just different. I'm just telling you, West Coast and Big Ten are two different games. If they don't adapt and they don't have the guys on the roster, it's not like they magically have these guys on the roster already. So I think they will get there.
Yes.
UCLA's defense was like, I know it's Pac-12 last year, but they were like absolute shutdown top 10 defense in the country. And USC has their defensive coordinator this year. So if they will be a problem if he can recreate that with USC.
Yes. Well, hey, real quick, I know Medium G, we're running a little long. I know you need to jump off. So I'd love to hear just real quick for us, who your top 3 in the SEC.
Oh my God, SEC's so big. Let me look at it. I think each conference has like 17 teams in them now for the Big Four. I mean, just a first glance here, looking at all the teams, my God, there's a lot of numbers here. We got number 5, number 1, 13, 11, 16, 6, 15, 20, and 4. Jesus.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's only 7. There's more ranked teams in the conference than there aren't ranked teams. That's absurd.
I agree.
That's absurd. The SEC is.
Well, they essentially
formulate
bought
my
two.
thoughts.
They bought 2 ranked teams when they brought Texas and Oklahoma.
They did like a formal franchise expansion.
Yeah.
I mean, you bring them in. Who are you going to go with? I mean, there's so many good teams here. I think at the top end, it's stronger than the Big Ten. At the bottom end, it's stronger than the Big Ten. I think
Besides
overall,
Vandy.
there's some
Vandy.
not great teams in here. When all the games get played, the rankings aren't going to be like this. Obviously, they'll beat each other, and other teams will kind of knock them around. And it'll be between them and the Big Ten. But I mean, do you go all in on Alabama this year? Question mark for me. I don't know. Can Texas go to a new conference and win? It's actually kind of a big question mark to me. Texas A&M, are they ranked 20th? I think they're better than that. I think they could beat a lot of teams and kind of scare some people. I think the darlings Ole Miss. I think they could actually win the whole thing this year. This could be their year.
Yep.
LSU has always been a team that you just hate to see win if you're me. And they somehow just they're been okay lately, but I think they're due. They've been looking stronger and stronger. Georgia looks like a world beater. I mean, who do you go with? Tennessee could possibly pop there and beat some teams and get into the top 3. If I had to say my top 3 right now, I would go with Georgia, number 1. Ole Miss, number 2. And then that number 3 spot is either in between Texas or Alabama. And my prediction for Texas this year, I'll say that because you guys are UT fans, I think they're going to have a semi-disappointing year this year. I think they're going to win for Texas. I think they probably win 9 to 10. They'll lose one they shouldn't. They'll win one they probably shouldn't. And they'll probably lose to Georgia if they play them eventually.
They do. They play them, but they play Georgia here in Austin.
Right. I think they'll lose that, and then they'll be in the playoffs. They'll find a way in the playoffs. They might be that team with 3 losses possibly that sneaks in, like Jason was complaining about last time. I just don't see them. It's just, to me, it's you go to a new conference, you're renewing a new rivalry with your old Texas A&M. I know none of these kids really care about that because they weren't barely even born then, but it does mean something when you're playing in the games and the fans are there. I think it's a hiccup in the road. I think they go back to excellence next year.
All right. Fair.
All right, Medium G. Well, any parting words for the listeners before you take off?
It's just, I'm sitting here. It's 9:08 on a Monday. I'm just so happy because college football is back. It just makes it's 105 today, and my air conditioner is out in my car. It's fixed now, but it's just like, college football is in a couple weeks. There's nothing to be sad about. I'm sweating. We got college football. I'm excited for the games, the barbecues, the hanging out, just the beers. It's like everything kind of gets more fun around football season. It starts this week. Looking forward to see Jason's team, Florida State, go on an absolute revenge tour and tear up college football and prove everybody wrong.
Oh, wait, who's your group of 5 pick?
Oh, group of 5.
Oh, I haven't even thought about that.
That's tough. That's so many teams.
It goes to the highest ranked group of 5, right?
Highest ranked conference winner group of 5.
Yep.
Oh, so no, it doesn't have to be, or it does have to be a winner for them to get the automatic bid.
Yep.
That's a hard one.
I would have to look.
I'd have to look at that.
All right, you let us know, and we can update the peeps about that.
Yeah.
All right, Medium G.
All right. Take it easy, brothers.
All right.
Later.
Wee.
Oh my God. All right, so we got his picks on. I know we jumped off the Big Ten pretty quickly there. I do just a parting word on the Big Ten for me. I think the top end is so excellent that we're going to see some absolute amazing games. We're going to see a lot of like instant classic games just by brand recognition alone between teams. I mean, it's crazy to see, hey, Ohio State conference game in November or December or October, whatever. October 12th is going to Oregon as a conference game to play that game. That's crazy. And it's going to be really fun to watch. I'm really, really excited to watch Big Ten football, but I'm extra excited to watch some SEC football. So let's get into it. I'd love to kick it over to Mr. Big G himself.
Kicking to me first again? Come on. Give me
Well,
some time
no, you were second. Medium G just went all right. Bunk, give us your
Bunk's
SEC.
going. Yeah,
Go, Bunk.
Here comes Bunk, baby.
Medium. Big G's crying again.
All right, I'm going to
Big G's
go.
crying again.
What I do?
I got, you know what? I got to go with my Texas Longhorns, number 1. Oh, no.
Wow.
Okay. Ooh, coming in hot.
I'm going Ole Miss. Jackson
like
Dart.
Wow.
Number 2.
I like it.
Number 3. I'm going to go Georgia Bulldogs.
Wow.
I'm thinking Alabama. They got a really good quarterback, but that is a whole different ball game down there with the new coach. They don't have a very hard schedule. That's the sad part. If you look at some of their schedules, them and Georgia.
Georgia has a brutal schedule.
But like at the beginning of the season.
Who cares about the beginning of this? Georgia
I
has
do.
one of the hardest schedules in the
I
nation.
care.
No.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They start with Clemson.
They have
That's a number next to Clemson. That's not an actual good.
Alabama has no schedule.
At Kentucky, at
Kentucky's
Alabama,
good.
at Florida, at Texas, at Ole Miss. They're away at all their big games.
Okay,
Georgia.
I misspoke. Alabama has an easy schedule.
I had to
Holy
stop you there.
crap,
I'm sorry,
dude.
but that's
Let
ridiculous.
me go back to my top
but
3.
look, you didn't mention that Tennessee Tech, Auburn, Mississippi
Auburn
State.
is going to be good this year.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They're playing UMass and then Georgia Tech to round it out.
But
They have hard games because they're in the SEC. They do not have a hard schedule.
they have a very hard schedule. I do disagree wholeheartedly with that.
Can
they have
Bump
a very
do his
tough
top
schedule.
3 in his
Sorry.
sleepers, please, for
Yes,
Christ's sake?
I tried to let Big G go.
Jesus, man.
See?
Texas.
I'm backing you up, big dog.
I hear you, man.
Texas,
Texas,
Ole Miss.
Georgia. My 2 sleepers, Tennessee and Kentucky.
yes,
That's what I got.
I agree.
But if
why,
you look,
why Kentucky?
'cause
They always
they've been
are good, man.
They have a good team, and they got the Stooper down
Mark
there.
Stoops,
One of the Stoops.
Mark Stoops knows how to coach.
He's a Stoop. But
Who
you
do they
know,
have, though?
any
Then
of
they
those
lost
guys-
their quarterback.
They lost their
quarterback.
quarterback, but they reload.
they
they-
actually have a really good team.
They do.
But I mean, look at this. A&M could have a great season. Florida could come back and have a good season. You never know about the old Cox down in South Carolina. The Cox could do
Why'd you
good.
just call me?
The Cox.
That's pure poppycock.
The Cacks. The Cacks down in Carolina. They could do well. You never know. Some of those teams could have a good year. You just never know. But for the most part, I'm going to go with the old tried and true. I just don't think Alabama is going to do it this year. I think they'll probably make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be in the top 3 of the conference. That's
Do you think they'll make the playoffs because they're Alabama or
Yes.
because they deserve to be there?
because they have an easy schedule and they're probably going to lose a couple hard games, but overall they don't have a very hard schedule. They play
Their
nobody
schedule
up
is
front.
grotesque.
It is. It's always like that in the beginning. I hate that they pick those non-conference games. They don't play anybody.
Well,
Ever.
on the other end of that, if you haven't seen Florida's schedule, they're not, even if they were good, they're going to take some shots. Florida starts the year with Miami. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
Then they have the Cupcakes, Samford. Then they have Texas A&M. That's a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State,
Could be tough.
UCF, which UCF's not going to be very good. But then they go Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas,
Yeah.
LSU,
No,
Old Miss, Florida State.
It's going to be
That's
rough.
brutal.
But here's the thing with Alabama. So here's a sneaky one. They're actually playing, Western Kentucky, then USF. But they're going to Wisconsin, and who knows what Wisconsin? They're
Right.
bound to be good again at some point. Then they got Georgia, Vandy. Then they got South Carolina, the Cacks. And then Tennessee could be good. Missouri. I mean, I don't think. I mean, Alabama could legitimately lose a few games this year without the old Sabanizer there. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
So
I
that's my
think
pick.
Oklahoma catches them. They get a Mercer before Oklahoma, and I think Oklahoma catches them.
Oklahoma could. It's funny we're not even talking about Oklahoma because they're always good too. You never
they're
know.
gonna
They're
be
just
good.
unknown. They're just unknown. They have a very good quarterback.
Yeah. Who's their quarterback?
It's what's the kid's name? He is good. They have a very good
That kid.
quarterback.
That kid that's good.
There's too many
Yes.
quarterbacks, and they always
There's so many
Everybody changes teams so often now. It's hard to freaking remember where they went.
Dude, in LSU, I mean, I got my old Notre Dame guy down there. You never know, man. I mean,
Well, actually, Chip Kelly picked up a defensive coordinator, so they actually might be a problem.
they're always good too. I mean, that's the thing with the SEC. If I'm looking at them, I mean, who probably isn't going to do well? Vanderbilt really isn't going to do well. The rest of the teams could possibly, they could upset people. So it's and Texas too. Texas needs to watch it because some of these teams could sneak up on them that they're not used to. Not Vandy, but I mean they play Florida. Arkansas is going to be a rivalry. It used to be a rivalry.
Jackson Arnold is the Oklahoma
Arnie.
QB. He's good. He is
So I
very
mean,
good.
Texas doesn't have a bye either. But I just feel pretty strongly about what they got.
I think Texas has an easier schedule than Georgia.
I think they might. We'll see. So that's
Only
my
because
pick.
of home games. Yeah, they pulled a lot of sweet home games.
Yeah, Texas
for their first year in the
lucked
SEC.
out. Oklahoma did not luck out. They have an absolutely brutal. They have one of the schedules that is right there with Florida.
Good.
That's a rough schedule.
Good for him.
It is good for them.
Make man out of him.
All right.
That's right.
You want me to go medium G? Big G? Which one are you? Big G?
Big. He's a biggin.
All right, I
Look
can
at the
go.
size of my head.
Oh, jeez.
Biggin.
I just brought you back on the camera. Huge head. It's Big G. All right. So for me, it's until Georgia gets knocked off, it's Georgia. honestly.
Over my Longhorns?
I'm disappointed in you.
I know.
messed up,
Until it's hard to
God
bet against
dang,
them.
man.
I have Texas 2. I do have Ole Miss 3.
Okay.
Ole Miss is 3, but I do think, man, Tennessee is going to be really, really good this year. They're going to be really good this year. So I could see. I mean, Missouri's going to be friggin' good this year. They have a great team.
There's a lot of good teams in the
It's hard. It's hard to choose. But probably Ole Miss 3. I know they're the darling though, and everybody's talking about them. And typically when that happens, that team is always a letdown.
But they have a I'm telling you, Jackson Dart, that dude.
He's very
play.
good.
He can play, and they have a good coach.
They do have a good coach. They have a great defense.
The only thing they lost on offense was Quinshon Judkins. And that guy is going to be watching from Ohio, somewhere in terrible Ohio, watching Ole Miss play for the national championship.
Yeah. We'll see.
I'm a fan of Ole Miss.
I honestly think it comes down to I think there's a lot of parity in the SEC. I think there's so many good teams that could any week somebody's going to beat somebody, right? Like somebody's going to get bigger names going to get beat. I think it comes down to your schedule. And I think Texas lucked out. I think Georgia's just the roster's so good. Until they get beat, it's hard to not put them there. Texas lucked out on their schedule. I think Ole Miss lucked out on their schedule too. Some of these other big teams that are up there, higher ranked, did not, right? Oklahoma's going to have a very hard time with that schedule. Ole Miss has some tough games going through. A&M has a pretty tough schedule this year. LSU, they're always the wild card. I don't know what's going to happen there. They lost their Heisman-winning quarterback. Somebody's got to fill in for that. Plus,
they recruit though, man.
I know, but
they have the same guy that I can't remember his name, Nursenberger or something like that.
Rosenbagger, but it's not Jalen. It's not Jalen Daniels who won the Heisman. So we'll see. It's got to be Georgia up there until they get beat for me.
Nussmeier,
yeah.
So that's my 3.
All
right, Big G, go.
Big G, it's your turn.
All right, it's kind of hard. I'm between Texas and Ole Miss at that number 1 spot because of their schedules. Both of them have talent. I mean, they're definitely good teams. I actually think Ole Miss will probably top the conference this year. And I 100% am basing this off Texas losing at one terrible game where Sarkisian does the same thing he did in the playoffs last year. He thinks too much about about decisions. And I don't know if it was him or the OC. Like not running the ball.
He is the OC.
Run the ball.
He is the OC.
Make them stop you. So I'll probably go Ole Miss 1, Texas 2. I think Georgia can get got. I think they're going to lose. They're definitely going to be good on defense. They don't have the same 2 running backs. I know they have Etienne. But he's not a power runner. He's not like he gets to the outside like he did at Florida. He gets to the outside. So he's not going to be the same as the guys they had last year. And I also think Carson Beck can be rattled.
So do you say Alabama walks into that 3 spot then?
No, Alabama's going to lose too.
So
I don't
who's your
think
3?
They're going to be as good. I honestly don't know, man. I think Tennessee probably sneaks in there. I'm going to blow your mind here. I'm going out on a limb. Florida has a grotesque schedule, right?
It's not happening.
Listen, they have an excellent quarterback in Grant Mertz. Excellent quarterback. If they can figure out how to hang in games early in the season, hard schedules actually make a team play harder, right? They're going to be a tighter unit. I'm not going to say they're going to go undefeated or anything. There is, because of their schedule, 100% chance they could lose 2 and be ahead of somebody else that loses 1 in the SEC. That absolutely can happen. I mean, if they're actually going to use strength of schedule as a metric, a 2-loss Florida 100% can be a third team from the SEC in the playoff.
Ooh, they're gonna have a hard time just losing two. They got a really hard schedule.
They have 8 preseason ranked teams.
I know
They're playing against.
That's gonna be tough.
I know.
And
it's a long shot, and I'm basing this. They have a great quarterback. I'm thinking I'm not like a Florida fan or anything. Actually, now that I live in Florida, I don't like them very much. But if they come out of the gate and beat Miami, crazy.
yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, they have to do that.
But
They get Miami in the swamp, A&M in the swamp. Tennessee will be a very tough one. They have to go to Knoxville. Georgia will be tough. I mean, they have hard games. They have Georgia at the swamp.
No. That's Cocktail. That's in Jacksonville.
Well, you're right. You're right. The grossest cocktail party known to man. I'm actually kind of pulling for Florida because it's so stacked against them. And I've just loved the SEC to get shook up. I don't think Alabama has. Losing Saban is bigger than people think.
I agree. I as much as I used to like watch him like an angry little beaver over there, the dude he can coach.
He can coach. And, pre-NIL, a coach like Charlie Strong could walk into a program and win his first year because players are stuck there. So you might walk into a great core. Obviously, Alabama has athletes, right? But people leave all the time now when a coach leaves.
Yeah.
So it's not the same as it was like 5 years ago where a coach walks into a pre-built mega team, right? This guy walked in, he brought people from Washington and people left. It's not the same Alabama from last year. So
he's a very good coach. He is a very good coach.
Sure.
He is.
But I don't know.
I'm
Washington
agreeing.
won in the Pac-12.
I'm just telling you, I agree with you. I think they get a few losses. I think Georgia gets a few losses.
I honestly don't think anyone goes. I think everybody catches losses.
Yeah.
It's too hard.
I think Ole Miss could go undefeated.
They can because they don't.
Their schedules.
I mean, they avoid some of the big teams. So.
They do, and they start off slow, right? Furman, Middle Tennessee, cakewalk.
Yeah.
Wake. I mean, that could be a good but it's still Wake, and then Georgia Southern. Then they get into the SEC. So the first 6 games they play are not hard. They should blow out every single team.
They only had 2 losses last year, and that freaking quarterback. I'm impressed with.
But I'll say this: the stretch of going LSU, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi State is not easy.
No,
Mississippi State is easy.
Mississippi State is but
that's a bad team.
Okay, then take them out, right? You go LSU, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Georgia, Florida, all in a row. That's hard. They're going to slip up. I think, I honestly think every single team will.
An SEC schedule is not that hard.
No, that's a very manageable schedule.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So you're working all season building to those 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge advantage. And especially like a guy like Kiffin that can prepare a team. Their offense is going to be out of control.
He can coach, man.
Yeah.
I am excited to see what they'll do. I want them to be good. I don't want them to beat Texas, but I want them to be good. So that'll be. I think the SEC is just they're going to cannibalize themselves at some point this year.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much talent in that conference. And you look at compare what we're looking at there to the Big Ten, and you can see the pathway for an Oregon or an Ohio State to go undefeated. I just don't see that pathway for any SEC team at this point because it's just grueling how many big games they have to play.
It's a hard but they have, honestly, Texas has the players too. It's going to be good.
Absolutely.
It'll be fun to watch and see what happens.
I'm worried about Texas run game.
Texas could run it this year. I mean, it's really pretty wide open. It's going to – well, about the running backs, Texas losing running backs, they've been in that spot before. Roschon Johnson is now an NFL running back.
No, I get
there are
that
athletes
completely.
Everywhere. I don't think that's that big of a deal.
They are working tight ends at running back at this point.
Yeah.
So
what's the train? What's that? What was 18? I can't remember.
The 18-wheeler package.
18-wheeler.
Oh my god.
Yes, that was
So
not
terrible.
good. Not good.
Here we go, pick. Arch Manning will be starting quarterback by midseason.
No, he won't.
Whoa.
I don't think
Damn.
Ewers will be able to hang.
Ewers
I hate
is
to say it.
Ewers is second in Heisman odds right now. Perception wise,
he was last year, and he finished.
No, he wasn't.
Completely
He was
out of it.
not second last year. He was not.
Dylan Gabriel's going to win the Heisman.
He's in a
but-
Dr. Pepper commercial.
He
though,
is in the
this
new
year,
Dr. Pepper
so-
commercial with
Right.
the Boz.
Well, he's on the cover of a EA game. That's strike one. Strike two, Arch Manning is an
Oh my
absolute
God.
animal. He's a machine.
Greg, don't walk under a ladder tonight or see a black cat. That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, hey,
You
let's
really
go.
think Ewers is going to hang?
Oh, I think he will. Unless he gets
If
hurt,
they lose two,
they won't.
Arch starts getting reps.
I don't think they're going to lose though.
Hey, do you
If
want
they
to?
lose two, the season's over. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump? Who is your one group of five
group
team?
of five.
Who's your one group of five team you think's going to get somebody? Or I guess make it to the playoff, right? Who's your one team that's
Yep.
going to be better than everybody else? I'm going App State.
I like it.
I think they're going to
Really?
be good. Yeah, I think they're going to be very good. I think their schedule is very manageable. They don't really have anybody big to play. And I just think they constantly win. That team is a culture at this point at App State that they win. So
They're
I'm
pretty good.
I'm leaning on them.
I'm going to surprise you. I'm going with them Roadrunners out at UTSA.
That is a great
Ooh.
pick too. Very, very good pick. Why? Come on, give us more. Give us more
Goes
there.
between
Funk.
them and Boise State. Boise State always has a good team. They've been off a little bit. I don't know. I think UTSA I watched last year. They did pretty well. I haven't looked them up or anything, but I don't know because I like them because they're Roadrunners, and I'm a Roadrunner fan.
All right.
know.
Hey, Jeff Traylor is an amazing coach. I think they have a good team. You're right. I do see them being one of the top group of five teams for sure.
There you go.
All
There
right.
you go.
All right, Big G.
It's hard to pick against Boise because they won their conference last year.
Yep.
They're already ranked higher. This
They're
is going to be
always
tough
good.
for
They're
them.
always
I
good,
don't
man.
see them losing. App State lost their conference championship game.
They
last
did.
year.
Yep.
I would like them to be like. I just went to Boone. It's an amazing college town. Super cool stadium. I would like to say App State, but I think it'll end up being Boise. Or Texas State as a dark horse
Texas State
come out of
is
nowhere.
supposed to do pretty well this year.
Yeah,
GJ
they're gonna
Kinney
be
is a
solid.
very good coach as well.
They're going to be really good. So that, I mean, if Boise and App State kind of bomb, Texas State, that might be crazy. Made their first bowl game last year ever, program history. If they made the playoff in their
Yep.
second year, that'd be nuts.
Oh, absolutely. I would go down for a game or two.
Now let me tell you the disruptor.
Disruptor, give it to us.
My Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Have you looked at their schedule? They're
I'm
playing
telling you, baby.
East Rutherford, New Jersey
Wait a minute.
High School.
They start off.
They're playing.
They start
They
off with
start off
A&M.
with A&M.
Texas A&M.
And then they have 11.
And they got Northern
JV
Illinois.
teams.
They got Purdue, Louisville.
Purdue is so bad.
They got your boys at Georgia Tech.
The Ramblin' Rex?
The Ramblin'
Whose
Wreck.
boys?
Yours. We just said.
Oh,
they're
you were
yours.
North Carolina State. I'm
No,
sorry.
he's
I thought you
Georgia
were
Tech
Georgia
guy.
Tech
I'm not
guy.
any it.
He's a Georgia Techer. He's a Ramblin'
got
Wreck.
Jack. I'm a
They
yellow
got
jack.
more- I'm telling you, Notre Dame is going to be ranked up there, and they're going to be in the playoffs. I think they're going to have a really good team this year. Just
They'll be there, but
FYI.
they're not going to have any. They're going to get to the playoffs not having had to play tight games, and it's going to be too much.
I got to go back.
And I
I've
hate
always
that.
liked
I
them.
like them, but
I love Notre Dame. They got Riley Leonard still quarterbacking. I think they got good recruits. I think they're top. I'm going to be honest with you. I think they're going to be a top 5 team.
They will be because they don't play anyone.
They play USC. They play your lovely Florida State. You've been rambling on about
Florida State, USC, and A&M.
Yeah,
That's it.
and they play Army. and Virginia and
Army
stuff.
is, I think, 103rd.
Wow.
And they play,
he said in Virginia.
and they play
stuff.
Navy. They're
Also
playing all the forces.
Navy is worse than Army.
It's going to
this
be
year.
bad. That's bad.
Well,
This might be the worst Notre Dame schedule I've ever seen.
I got to
It's
be
pretty
honest. If they can beat A&M, I believe they're home free.
All right.
All
All right, Disruptor. We do have one email I know we're running long here.
Oh boy.
But
What
I
we
do,
got?
and this is a great question that pertains to what we're talking about here. Shout out to Zach Ernst.
Hey.
Sent this one in. Zach Ernst, thank you for this this email here. The first question is, what would be y'all's ideal college football conference structure? One big conference with the traditional Power 5 teams, with or without divisions, two conferences with or without divisions, back to the old conference alignment before the Big East lost Miami, Boston College, and Virginia Tech, or another era or design? How do you feel?
I'm a fan. I'm going to be honest. I was a fan of having more divisions, personally, not these big super divisions. I think they're kind of fun. Everybody's in them, but I like. It's almost like local. Everything now, you got West Coast teams having to fly. There's no following here for a West Coast team, and there's not going to be a following on the East Coast for some team that's not on the East Coast. So, I personally would have preferred they kept the divisions and the conferences more local, more geographically local. That's kind of. I think the rivalries are better. The money, it's a money thing. I absolutely, it's a money deal. But I think from a rivalry standpoint, they should have stayed. That ship has obviously sailed, but I preferred that over what we have.
All right. Yeah, that's very fair. How about you there, Big G?
Yeah, I agree. I think inside of the next 5 years, college football it's not going to be as fun. And it's going to strictly be because of these enormous conferences, the money grab conferences. If they have to do it big like this, they should structure it more like the NFL. So you might be playing other people in your conference, but your division means more. And whoever wins in the division, they're going to have to get rid of the 1 through 25 ranking system or something to make it actually make sense.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be strictly wins and losses against actual opponents. More like the NFL style. So if you win your division, you move on to whatever the next round is. I don't see this being successful for very long.
Yeah, I think the NIL, though, just in all the money, it's just killing it. I think it's just going to stay where it's at. And it'll probably even compress even more. But I feel bad for the teams that can't compete, because there's some good ball players in some of these other schools. They'll never compete. And I mean, if a kid has a great year in one of those other schools, he's gone immediately. He's gone. He'll go in the portal. He'll go to a bigger school, get paid a bunch of money. So the schools, there's no. I mean, it used to be developing the kids and all that. It's just not happening anymore. That's my soapbox.
Soapbox.
I don't like it. I don't like any of the stuff that's going. I'm a Dabo guy when it comes to that. Dabo.
Well, for me, I would like to see it be more of regions. So not necessarily going back to old structure, but do big regions of things. And I guess it's more towards that NFL style, right? But West Coast teams, just group all of them together. Yeah. The Plains, group those together. Texas could have its own friggin' division. Yep. There's so many teams here. And I do think, and it will never happen, but this is the soccer brain in me, create a promotion relegation system where those teams like Boise and stuff can come into a bigger conference if they're winning. They have that, and there's a TV package deal with that. It is an incentive for those lower end teams to go out and spend some money on players. If the money's there, it's going to incentivize them to spend the money on the player to get them to that bigger contract, right? And that bigger league that they're going to make more money as a school that way. With that structure, the schools would need to be paying the players though. So there's kind of that middle ground there, but creating that promotion relegation I could see it keeping traditional kind of like rivalry.
Yeah.
Because what if you're, let's say Florida State, just because they're names, not because the teams that they are right now, but just two names, right? And say Florida has won 12 games, right? And they're awesome this year. They're going to go play Florida State, who maybe has shit the bed this year and has only won like 3, but they have to win one more to stay in the conference. Imagine how much passion and fight is in that game now. It adds another extra level to each one of those games towards the end of the year, where those lower end teams, you're seeing them just fight it out to try and stay in the conference that they're in.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think at that point, though, you're abandoning the part where you're a college athlete.
I think we've abandoned that already, though. I think that's abandoned already.
Well, that's the NCAA's fault. They're greedy. And so they're letting that NIL run wild so that they can, it's like fucking pro wrestling or something, WWE, and they're just reaping the rewards like McMahon. As long as people are watching the spectacle, the NCAA doesn't want to control it, unfortunately.
Right. And so this would create a system that it self-governs itself almost and keeps with this paying the players, because let's be fair, they're not called. They're professional athletes. They're getting paid to play the game at this point.
But you'd have to drop the NIL in your situation.
It's the same. You definitely would. But think about the NFL players that get sponsorship deals on the outside. It's the same thing. They're just the school's paying them a salary, and then they get that sponsorship deal on the outside.
Yeah, except a team like Texas could always buy a team like A&M will always have the most money. So it doesn't even matter where they finish, because it's just some alumni dude with a company.
Yeah. But if you look at
all the money,
but if you look at that soccer model, you're seeing teams still come up and down and compete. You saw Leicester City come out of nowhere and beat everybody after they were just promoted into the league. Like, there is still parity. I think it incentivizes those lower end teams to get better. It just incentivizes them to throw some money at kids.
They're trying to get better.
I
mean, a kid's going to come here to Texas and drive a Maserati, or freaking go to some bodunk school and play. I mean, they're not. Come on, they're not stupid.
I know.
We would do the same. I honestly hate the NIL. I hate all that stuff that happened, and it's grown, and it's it's going to ruin it. You don't see there is no loyalty anymore to any school by anybody.
You are, in certain cases, you are seeing loyalty, but it's not the norm anymore.
No,
it is not the norm.
It's loyalty because they're getting the bigger players are all getting paid.
But like Ollie Gordon went back to school, but he's not getting paid what Texas players are getting paid. He went back to go run at Oak State.
That's an individual kid who made that decision. But overall, the system, that's not what the system's doing. So.
All right, very good. And then last thing here, follow up to that. Any changes to the 12-team playoff format for college football, or is this the ideal design for now?
Gotta see it work. I mean, I want to see it play out. I like it. I like that there's more teams in it. Is 12 the right number? No idea until you get through the end of this year and see who the 11 and 12 teams are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My only gripe with it is the same thing. Like, App State beat Michigan when App State was the D2 team, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to play the game on the field. So I hate that they're using. So SEC number 1 will get in. Whoever lost the conference championship will get in. Whoever came in third will get in. That's the same issue. I mean, they bought more teams, higher profile teams, to guarantee more exposure in the playoff. And if they want to do it, don't have Power 4 conferences. Have 12 conferences. Make every single winner of a conference be able to get in, because that App State team might pick off somebody. That's why you play the game. So
that's an interesting way to look at it too. Yeah.
Yeah, because like right now it is Big Ten and SEC are going to have 8.
They're going to have
playoff
3/4 of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's hard to stomach. And you're talking about 2 Power 4 conferences that are not looking too hot next to the other 2, right? Like Big 12 looks rough. ACC looks rough compared to SEC and Big Ten.
And they'll all probably each get one, and then it's not going to leave room for anybody else. It's going to be. I mean, I'm curious to see how it works out. I'm really curious to see how we get to the 12. But I until it happens, I guess, and we go through it 1 or 2 years, I'm happier it's not 4. Or that like it was.
4 was weird.
4 was
I did
rough
not like
because
4.
I didn't.
4 was bad.
I mean, it just turned into a popularity contest for number 4.
Yes.
So it gives us a little more room. Is 12 the right number? No idea.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah. But I mean, you look at like the March Madness, there's teams that make it into the tournament that you're looking at like there's absolutely no way.
Right.
You're 16th seed, but then
they
pick
run
somebody off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why not provide that opportunity to every school? Not only that, then every school in the country, every conference in the country knows, hey, we're going to get exposure one way or the other. More players might be willing to go there. You can either sit 3 years behind this guy, or you can come here and start as a freshman. It might spread the talent.
I agree. I think I'm hoping they give other teams outside of the big conferences a shot, but we'll see.
Well, I think that was a great way to wrap up our chat here. Sorry we didn't talk about your Yankees there, Bunk. I'm kind of happy we didn't, though. So
wait.
It's cool. Oh, God.
What happened with the White Sox, real quick?
They lost 2 or 3. They lost at the Little League game. Freaking closer blew.
Yeah, they lost the Little League game.
They lost a closer blew another one.
Yep.
God, it was brutal.
They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to wreck.
Oh, of course they'll be in the playoffs.
Don't worry about it.
I'm not worried about it.
Baltimore's really freaking good, though.
Yeah, but it's neck and neck. There's a lot of good teams out there. A lot of teams are coming in. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to playoffs, too.
Well, we'll definitely have to get into that next week for sure and talk a little bit more college football because we'll have some games to talk about after that.
Awesome.
And NFL's coming up. So get ready for that there.
Go Chargers.
Before we head out, though, Big G, anything you want to say to the people before we go?
Nope. I'm good. I said my piece.
All
you
right.
heard what I said,
All right.
Nick Arch Manning.
All right, Bunk. Anything for the people?
Just please check out our social media. We have got an awesome meme thing or whatever the hell you call it. Out there. Holy crap.
Oh, my
Big
God.
G created that for us, and it is friggin' awesome.
Yes.
It is a Star Wars theme, and it's good stuff. So,
Do check that out. We are on X. It's Twitter.
Twitter.
We are on Instagram and Facebook. Go check those out. Who knows about TikTok? We're too old to figure out TikTok, so we're not there yet. I'm not doing some dances or whatnot. And you can always email questions to us at bunkandpickpodcast@gmail.com. Nothing else, though, fellas. One thing to tell the people.
Let's take it out.
Will be
Rolling Balls. See you guys next time.